Welcome back, coin hunters, treasure rarest coins. Seekers and curious collectors. Today we are talking about the 1971 D Washington quarter, a coin that most people have held in their hand thousands of times, but that sometimes gets talked about online as if it might be worth a life-changing amount of money like $1.5 million. In this video we are going to explore the real history of this coin, why most of them are fairly common, how you can tell if you have one in exceptional condition, and what kinds of rare quarters genuinely bring high prices when they show up in collections or at auction. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor our first president, George Washington, and since then it has become one of the most familiar coins in American currency. For decades this quarter dollar has been used in everyday transactions, and its design has remained recognizable to generations of Americans. In 1971 the U.S. Mint produced Washington quarters with a copper-nickel clad composition, meaning the coin is not made of silver but a mix of copper and nickel bonded together on the outside of a pure copper core. That changed earlier in history when quarters were silver before 1965, but by 1971 all circulating quarters were made of copper and nickel. The Denver Mint struck more than 258 million of the 1971 D Washington quarter, making it one of the most common issues in the series, and that means the vast majority of those coins you find in pocket change are worth only their face value of 25 cents or just a small premium in uncirculated condition, because so many were made and so many still survive today. This large mintage and common circulation make the ordinary 1971 D quarter something every collector sees, often not something rare or hard to find. Inverted question mark 1 half coin no plus one. That might make you wonder why you sometimes see videos or headlines claiming that a 1971 D Washington quarter could be worth $1.5 million. The honest truth is that no standard 1971 D quarter has ever sold for $1.5 million in a verified public auction or reputable sale. Stories like that usually come from confusion between dramatically rare coins from other years or fully unique rare pieces that are not typical 1971 D quarters. What most collectors and numismatic price guides show is that even the best examples of the 1971 D quarter in uncirculated condition might sell in the low thousands of dollars range at auction, with top-graded coins selling around a few $1,000s if they are in exceptional mint state, like MS-68 uncirculated condition, which once brought over $4,000 at a major auction, showing that condition is everything when it comes to value, but still far from the sensational $1 million mark. Inverted question mark 1 half coin no plus one. Collectors look at a few key things when they evaluate a 1971 D quarter. First is condition. Most circulated coins that show wear and scratches are worth face value or just a slight premium to collectors. Uncirculated coins that show no wear and have strong original luster are much more desirable, especially if they are graded by a professional grading service. Certified holders can show buyers exactly what grade the coin received, because coins that are graded high have a level of demand that ordinary raw coins do not. But even the highest graded 1971 D Washington quarters do not reach values anywhere close to $1 million. They are valued because exceptional condition coins are simply rare for coins of that age and type, not because they are fundamentally scarce in production like older classic coins from the early 20th century and before. Inverted question mark 1 half coin no. Another way certain coins pull higher values is through error coins and unusual varieties. When the mint strikes coins, mistakes sometimes happen, and these mistakes can drastically change your coin's value if they are dramatic and authenticated by a grading service. Some 1971 Washington quarters with error characteristics have sold for prices well above face value. For example, off-center strikes where the coin design is shifted, producing a visible blank area on one side. Double die errors where parts of the design looked like they were struck twice, or coins struck on the wrong plankette. These types of errors are rare because they represent a breakdown in the usually precise minting process, and collectors prize them because they are unusual in documented cases. Dramatic error quarters from 1971 have brought hundreds, or in very rare private sales approaching the low thousands of dollars at most, depending on how dramatic and collectible the error is. But these are exceptions, and not the rule. IDRSS inverted question mark 1/2 VIP news. For example, quarters that are significantly off-center, where much of the design is missing, or coins that were struck with flaws in the die can be appealing to collectors and generate competitive bidding. However, even these error pieces do not regularly approach million-dollar valuations. The real million-plus sales in numismatics tend to involve much older coins with historically limited mintages, dramatic provenance, or unique surviving examples like early 19th century issues, or extremely rare varieties from periods when record-keeping and production were different than modern-era mass-production coins. Collectors value those coins not just for errors but for deep historical context, meaning that a 1971 error quarter will not match the scarcity and demand of those historic rarities. IDRSS inverted question mark 1/2 VIP news. So what should you do if you find a 1971 D Washington quarter and wonder if it might be valuable? First, examine its condition. Does it show normal wear from circulation, or does it shine with original mint luster and crisp details? Professional grading can tell the difference, and a high-graded coin can be worth significantly more to collectors. Second, look for errors or unusual features. Does the coin show doubling of letters on the face or back? Is the mint mark or date off-center, or does the coin appear struck on a wrong planchet? These are the types of characteristics that can change a coin from ordinary pocket change to something that serious collectors will pay more for. If you think you have something unusual, consider consulting a reputable coin dealer or submitting the coin to a third-party grading service, because authenticated and certified coins consistently sell for higher values than raw, ungraded coins. In closing, the 1971 D Washington quarter is a fascinating piece of American monetary history because it represents everyday life and commerce in the early 1970s, but it is not inherently rare. Most examples are worth face value or modest premium for high uncirculated condition rare error coins, and exceptional certified examples can bring higher values but nowhere near the sensational figure of $1.5 million that sometimes gets shared online. What makes coin collecting exciting is that you never know when you might uncover something unusual in your pocket change, and that process of discovery is what keeps collectors passionate about learning history through coins. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of the 1971 D Washington quarter, hit the like button, subscribe, and keep exploring, because treasures might be hidden in the change you carry every day. If you want, I can also tailor this for a specified video length or add visual cue suggestions to help with editing and pacing. Welcome back, coin hunters, treasure seekers, and anyone who loves a good story about hidden value in everyday change. Today we are diving into the fascinating world of the 1984 D Washington quarter, a coin that most of us have seen 1,000 times but that occasionally gets talked about online as if it could be worth unimaginable sums like $1.3 million. In this video we are going to unpack the real history of the 1984 D quarter, what makes most of them common, what kinds of rare coins actually sell for big money, and how you can tell if you have something worth more than just pocket change. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. Since then it has been one of the most widely circulated coins in the U.S. monetary system. For decades the quarter dollar has been used for everyday transactions, and its design became familiar to generations of Americans. In 1984 the Denver Mint produced over 546 million Washington quarters, meaning that this coin is one of the most commonly found quarters in circulation. Even today most of these coins ended up in pocket change registers and coin jars, and tens of millions are still in everyday use now. Decades later these coins featured George Washington's profile on the obverse and the classic eagle on the reverse, making them instantly recognizable and deeply tied to American numismatic history. The everyday 1984 D quarter in circulated condition is valued at about 25 cents, the same as its face value because it's so common and easy to find. In uncirculated condition without special features, these coins usually sell for just $1 or a few dollars depending on how crisp the strike is and how well the surfaces have been preserved. Almost every ordinary 1984 D quarter you find in change will fall into this category and be worth only nominally more than face value to a collector. IDRSS inverted question mark 1/2. Coin trackers +1. That might leave you wondering then why you sometimes hear people on social media blogs and even other YouTube channels claiming that a 1984 D Washington quarter could be worth $1.3 million. The short answer is that no standard 1984 D quarter ever sold for that kind of money in a verified public auction. Instead, those sensational figures are usually part of exaggerated headlines or confusion between very rare older coins and ordinary modern issues. Some older Washington quarters from the 1930s or other key dates have indeed sold for extraordinary prices at major auctions because of rarity, condition, or historical significance, but the 1984 D quarter simply does not have the scarcity needed to bring prices anywhere near that level. IDRSS $1.5 US coins value. Still, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and there are ways that a 1984 Washington quarter can be more valuable than its face value, especially if it is an exceptionally high grade or if it displays a dramatic minting error. The key factors that drive value in collectible coins are rarity, condition, and demand from collectors. In the case of the 1984 D quarter, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of coins, so ordinary circulation examples remain common. However, if a coin has survived in superb uncirculated condition with full mint luster, sharp details, and minimal contact marks, it becomes much rarer to find. Those high-grade coins are what collectors call mint state examples, and the highest graded coins can fetch significantly more than face value. A top-graded 1984 D quarter certified as MS67 by respected grading services has been known to sell at auction for upwards of $1,300 and in some rare instances even a bit more, which shows that condition matters a great deal more than the date alone. IDRSS $1.5 coin. No. Errors are another category where value can increase dramatically even for a common date coin like all coins. The 1984 Washington quarter was produced in vast numbers, but mistakes can happen during the minting process. Some of the most collectible errors include off-center strikes where the design is shifted away from the center, unusual double die features where parts of the design appear doubled, broad struck errors where the coin was struck without its collar producing a distorted shape, and cleft planchet errors where a portion of the coin is missing because the blank was improperly cut. These error types are interesting to collectors because they are different and unusual, and because they remind us that production is done by machines that can sometimes slip up. The market values for these error coins vary widely depending on how dramatic the mistake is and how well the coin has been preserved. Off-center quarters with significant design missing can sell in the low hundreds of dollars, while other dramatic errors can fetch more, but again none approach the multi-million-dollar range for the 1984 D quarter series alone. IDRSS $1.5 US coins value. It's important to emphasize that there is no confirmed public sale of a 1984 D Washington quarter for $1.3 million. Coins that have made sensational headlines for millions of dollars are usually much older rarities with extremely low surviving populations or famous historical provenance. Contemporary issues like the 1984 D Washington quarter simply do not have that kind of market record. When experts compile widely accepted auction databases and grading service price guides, the highest prices for this coin date are in the range of modest thousands for top high-grade certified specimens, and dramatic error coins can sell for a few hundred or low thousands depending on the type of error and collector interest. IDRSS $1.5 coin. No. So if you have a 1984 D Washington quarter and you're curious about whether it might be valuable, start by looking at its condition. Does the coin appear shiny and new with few contact marks or dull and worn from circulation compared to other quarters of the same age? If it looks exceptional, consider having it evaluated by a reputable coin dealer or even submitted to a third-party grading service for authentication. Certification can dramatically increase a coin's appeal and make it easier to sell to serious collectors. Likewise, if you believe your coin displays an unusual minting error, take detailed photographs and seek professional opinions, because accurate identification is the first step toward understanding true market value. In summary, the 1984 D Washington quarter is a piece of American monetary history, one that you might pass by in everyday transactions, but that also has potential interest to collectors when it surfaces in high high-grade or with dramatic mint errors. Most ordinary examples are worth only a few cents or dollars, but exceptional coins are out there, and every once in a while a beautifully preserved quarter can surprise its owner at auction. The idea of a multi-million-dollar coin makes a great headline, but the true story is richer and more grounded in how collectors value rarity, condition, and unique characteristics. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of the 1984 D Washington quarter, hit the like button, subscribe, and keep exploring the fascinating world of coin collecting, because treasures might be hiding in the change you carry every day. If you want, I can tailor this for a specific length like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or even add visual cue suggestions for video editing. Welcome back, treasure hunters, coin collectors, and curious history lovers. Today we're talking about a coin most of us have used in everyday life, the 1987 D Washington quarter, and we're going to explore its history, its typical value, and why you might have heard outrageous claims online that one of these coins could be worth as much as $1.4 million. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 in honor of President George Washington, and it quickly became one of the most recognized coins in United States currency, featuring Washington's portrait on the obverse and originally an eagle on the reverse. This coin has been part of everyday commerce for generations. By 1987, the dimes over decades were long gone, and quarters were made from a copper-nickel clad composition, meaning a core of pure copper sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel that gave the coin durability and circulation appeal. In that year, the Denver Mint struck more than $655 million 1987 D Washington quarters, making it one of the most common issues of the decade because of this high mintage and common circulation. Most 1987 D Washington quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents in everyday condition, and even coins that have never been spent and still look new are generally worth just a few dollars to collectors unless they have something truly special about them. The standard 1987 D quarter in average circulated condition is simply not rare and widely available to collectors and casual finders like IDRSS (?1/2) coin trackers. That leads us to the big question people ask all the time: why do so many videos, posts, and coin articles talk about 1987 Washington quarters being worth big money or even as much as $1.4 million? The honest truth is that no ordinary 1987 D quarter has ever sold for anywhere near $1.4 million in a verified public auction or reputable sale. Claims like that are almost always clickbait, exaggerations, misunderstandings, or confusion with other coins from much earlier in American history that truly are rare and valuable. The Washington quarters made before 1965, when they were struck in 90% silver, have genuine collectible value, and some key dates from that era have sold for significant sums at auction, but the 1987 clad quarters from the Denver Mint do not fall into that category. IDRSS (?1/2) CoinValueLookup.com. So what value do real 1987 D Washington quarters have? Most are worth face value or just a small premium in circulation, but coins that have never been used and show strong original mint luster with sharp details can attract collector interest depending on the condition. An uncirculated 1987 D quarter might be worth a few dollars in mint state, and higher graded examples certified by a professional grading service may bring more at auction. For instance, some MS-67 graded 1987 D quarters have sold for several $100s to around $700 on the open market. That reflects collector demand for high-grade pieces that are difficult to find in perfect condition. Even though millions were produced, finding such a high-grade specimen is unusual because most coins lose their original luster or acquire contact marks in circulation, but they are giving us a real sense of how condition drives value in numismatics. IDRSS (?1/2) Coin. No. Another category where value can increase above face value is minting errors and unusual varieties. When a coin is struck and something goes wrong at the mint, you can end up with coins that look different from the typical issue and that are collectible because they are rare. These can include off-center strikes where the design is not centered on the coin, blank double die features where parts of the design appear duplicated, unusual die ranks, broad struck coins where the metal spreads out beyond its normal boundary, and other mistakes mistakes that occur during production. Collectors prize these error coins because they are visibly different from standard examples, and only a tiny fraction of coins ever show such dramatic mistakes. Some error quarters from 1987 have sold for tens or even low hundreds of dollars at auction, depending on how dramatic and unusual the error appears. These coins are interesting and collectible, but once again they do not approach multi-million-dollar levels in verified sales records. IDRSS _1/2 coinvaluelookup.com. It's also worth pointing out the way coin prices are reported online can be misleading. Many estimated values you see in videos, social posts, or search results represent asking prices, not what coins actually sold for in verified auctions. Just because a seller lists a coin for $1.4 million or several $1,000s does not mean that price was paid in a real sale. Serious collectors and reputable auction houses record actual realized prices, and those are what truly reflect the coin market. Even the highest recorded sales for 1987 Washington quarters were sharp. Uncirculated examples graded by top services brought solid premiums, were far below sensational million-dollar figures, and were more in line with advanced collector prices for condition rarities. IDRSS _1/2 coin. No. So what should you do if you find a 1987 Washington quarter and wonder if it's rare or valuable? Start by examining the coin's condition. Does it show wear and tear from circulation, or does it sparkle with original mint luster? Coins that look crisp and fresh with strong details on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers are candidates for higher collector value. Next, check for obvious errors or unusual features. Does the design appear off-center or double? Does the surface show marks or shapes that are different from a normal quarter? If something looks unusual, take clear photos or show the coin to a reputable coin dealer, or consider submitting it to a professional grading service. Graded coins that receive high marks for condition easily attract more attention from serious collectors and can command higher prices than ungraded coins. In summary, the 1987 Washington quarter is a common modern coin with a long history of everyday use in circulation, but it also serves as a great example of how coin collecting valuation works. Ordinary examples are worth face value or modest premiums. Uncirculated mint state coins and certified high-grade pieces can be valuable to collectors, and error coins with dramatic mint mistakes can fetch meaningful prices. But the sensational idea of a multi-million-dollar 1987 quarter is not grounded in verified market data. Understanding what makes a coin truly rare and desirable gives you the tools to confidently evaluate your own finds and appreciate the fascinating world of numismatics. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the history and value of the 1987 Washington quarter, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more coin stories and treasure tips. So you never know when a collector's dream might be hiding in your pocket change. If you want, I can also tailor this script to a specific video length, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, with visual cue suggestions and pacing guidance. Welcome back to the channel, coin lovers, coin collectors, and everyday treasure hunters. Rarest coins. Today we are diving into the fascinating story of the 1993 Washington quarter, a coin that most of us have seen in circulation, but that sometimes gets talked about online as if one could be worth a massive amount of money, like $1.2 million. In this video we will explore the real history of this coin, why most are common, what factors contribute to real collectible value, what types of mistakes can make a coin more valuable, and how you can tell if you might have something special in your pocket change. The Washington quarter has been one of the most familiar coins in United States currency since it was first introduced in 1932 to honor President George Washington, featuring Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. This coin quickly became part of everyday American life. By 1993, the Washington quarter had been in continuous production for more than 60 years and was struck in large numbers to meet circulation needs. In that year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 630 39,1993p Washington quarters, making it a very common coin in circulation today. Most of these coins spent their lives in pocket change, coffee jars, and cash registers where they were used for everyday transactions. The typical circulated 1993p quarter in average condition is worth just 25 cents, the same as its face value, because so many were made and survive nearly 40 years later. Uncirculated examples without dramatic errors might sell for a few dollars from collectors who specialize in mint state coins, but they are not inherently rare or difficult to find, which means their values on the open market reflect that common status rather than anything extraordinary. IDRSS (1/2) Coin trackers. That brings us to the question many people ask: why do some videos, social posts, and online lists sometimes claim that a 1993p quarter could be worth something extreme like $1.2 million? The honest answer is that there is no verified record of a standard 1993p Washington quarter selling for $1.2 million at a major public auction or reputable sale. Those sensational figures are almost always exaggerations, misunderstandings, or clickbait based on confusion with coins from much earlier in history, or coins with documented scarcity such as rare silver issues from before 1965, or dramatically rare era pieces from outside the 1993p series. Modern clad coins like the 1993p quarter were produced in such high numbers that basic scarcity is not a factor that could push values into the multi-million-dollar range. IDRSS (1/2) coin identifier. Instead, it is helpful to break down the real market for 1993p quarters based on condition and special characteristics. The key things collectors look at are the grade of the coin, its overall condition, any unusual features or minting errors, and whether it has been certified by a respected third-party grading service. In circulated condition, most 1993p quarters are only worth their face value. However, coins that have never been spent and remain in mint state condition with original luster and sharp details are much rarer and more attractive to collectors. High-grade certified examples can sell for significantly more depending on the grading level, with MS-66 or MS-67 coins sometimes bringing several $100s at auction because so few high-grade survivors remain compared to the millions originally struck. Finding such a high-grade coin from 1993 that has survived decades with minimal marks and full mint luster is not impossible, but it still represents a tiny fraction of the total production, which is why serious collectors prize those specimens. IDRSS (1/2) coin identifier. Another way that Washington quarters can be more valuable than face value is through minting errors and dramatic varieties. When a coin is struck, imperfections can occur during the production process that result in unusual or eye-catching coins that collectors sometimes seek. These can include off-center strikes where the design is noticeably shifted from the center of the plankette, double die errors where lettering or design elements appear duplicated, broad strikes where the coin expands beyond its normal boundaries, and other misprints like missing clad layer anomalies. These errors are not common and many only occur on a very small number of pieces, which is why they attract collector interest. Some error coins from the 1993 series have brought prices well above face value at auction, depending on how dramatic and appealing the error appears and how desirable it is to error coin collectors. However, even these error coins tend to sell in the hundreds or at most a few $1,000s range, and do not regularly attract the sensational million-plus figures that are sometimes claimed online, because actual market demand and verified sale records do not support those extreme valuations. IDRSS (1/2) Errorcoins.org. It is also worth understanding how online prices are presented. Many listings you see on auction sites or social media may show a coin priced at a huge figure, but that price often reflects the seller's asking price, not the actual realized sale price. Where a buyer and seller agree on a transaction at a documented amount, realized prices from reputable auctions or certified sales records are what truly represent the market value of a coin, and those show that even the highest grade 1993p Washington quarters or dramatic error examples still sell for amounts far below the sensational multi-million figures that sometimes circulate as rumors. IDRSS (1/2) coin identifier. So what should you do if you find a 1993 P Washington quarter in your pocket change and wonder if it might be valuable? First, examine the coin's condition. Look at its surfaces under good light and check if the details on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers appear sharp or worn. If the coin appears unusually crisp and has original mint luster, it might be worth having graded by a professional service, because graded mint state coins often bring higher prices than raw, ungraded examples. Next, look for obvious error features. Does the coin appear off-center? Is there a doubling of letters or numbers? Is there an unusual shape or distortion? These are the kinds of features that can suggest an error coin worth further investigation. If you think you have something unusual, consider consulting a reputable coin dealer or submitting the coin to a third-party grading and authentication service, because certified rare coins and error varieties consistently command more collector interest than ungraded coins. In summary, the 1993 P Washington quarter is a modern coin with a long history in circulation. Its values range from face value for ordinary circulated specimens to higher amounts for high-grade graded examples and error coins with dramatic characteristics. While real collector demand drives those prices, wild claims about coins being worth $1.2 million are not grounded in verified market sales or numismatic pricing data. What truly matters for value is rarity, condition, demand, and authentication, which together determine what collectors are willing to pay at auction or in private sales. The thrill of discovering a coin interchange that turns out to be valuable is part of what makes coin collecting such an exciting hobby, but it is important to understand the real factors that create real value in the numismatic world. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this detailed dive into the history and value of the 1993 P Washington quarter, hit the like button, subscribe, and keep exploring, because the next hidden treasure might be just around the corner in the change you carry every day. If you want a version tailored specifically for a 5-minute or 10-minute video with visual cue suggestions, I can produce that too. Just let me know.